Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. All right, y'all. So for this reading, you know what I'm getting the energy of? You know how somebody says talk you out of your drawers or talk you out of your panties? This is also giving me a memory I'm about to share with you. But the reading begins with sweet talk. This sweet talk is almost going to reveal how star seeds and healers are hunted. Like to hunt a star seed, to hunt a healer is a whole side hustle. It is an entire operation. So people go to work every day, they have a normal 9 to 5 or whatever they do, but then they also got this side hustle. Now, what makes a star seed or what makes a healer a prized possession? It is because you have codes and you have formulas inside of you. And so to be a starseed means that something out of this world is inside of your vessel. When you start to figure out how to use what's in your vessel, not only can you heal yourself, but you have the ability to heal others. All of those things are based on codes or formulas. Now, the people that control you, when I say control you, I'm thinking of those that really project and control realities, those that are in charge of the matrix, or just like making sure that this life, this Truman Show unfolds in the way that it does. Those specific people, it's like they can get you to go in certain directions, but they really cannot take from you what you possess. And so it is a whole side operation for the lives of many that have this awareness. Now, you are coming out as a grimoire. You are a walking library. You are a keeper and a holder of ancient knowledge. So we're talking about your wisdom, we're talking about your experience, not just your experience from Earth, but also your experience from other star systems. This is what makes you a grimoire. Others have that information about you, and so this seems to be revealing how the starseed or the healer is hunted, okay? Now, it doesn't end well for them, but for you it does, okay? Let me tell you about this story real quick. So y'all remember how we used to have like CDs? And a lot of times we would burn our CDs. And when I say burn them, we would create playlists. So we would use stuff like Rhapsody. Y'all, I cannot remember the other major software that we would use in addition to Rhapsody. But what did we use to like make our own CDs? All right, so we burn CDs. I don't think iPods really came out until like maybe my junior or senior year of college. So whenever we would take road trips to go to different schools in order to play different games or matches, everybody would bring their CDs, and we would pass our album or our booklet or like whatever we held them in, we would pass them to the front of the bus. Somebody would like read through them, and then we would kind of vote about what we wanted to listen to. Y'all, I passed my book up one time, and I had 2 CDs that I had burned, and one of them said Panty Dropper 1 and Panty Dropper 2, which means that was like baby making music. Y'all remember? Who remembers Red Light Special? Was it Tigger? Like, maybe it wasn't Tigger, but like who came on the radio at night? Red Light Special, a very deep and like luscious voice, and all of the songs were like R&B and love. I'm not saying they don't make music like that anymore, but like maybe I just don't connect to music in the way that I used to when I was younger. But to be like that young and to like really like be connected to like music like that is wild. So anyway, I remember when I was so embarrassed. Panty Dropper 1, Panty Dropper 2. So yes, that is relevant to this reading. Now, the way you feel when you listen to panty droppers, like what it does to your body, you start getting all hot and bothered. This is how the hunting begins. This is how it begins. So we start the energy of this reading with sweet talk. Now, everything that is coming into your ear gates that sounds sweet is actually a lie. So I have a card here, and it says lying to yourself is the most harmful spell, okay? And so somebody has to enter the life of the grimoire, the keeper of sacred and ancient knowledge, and they have to sweet talk them. And so you are the keeper of truths. When they enter, they have to tell you a whole bunch of lies. But these are lies that make you feel good. These are lies that make you want to drop your panties, okay? These are things that they're saying. They're talking to you, but they're trying to talk you out of your drawers. They want you to relinquish a power, a code, or a formula. But it initially begins this way. So I have this divine masculine. It says divine masculine. I'm reading the card, not necessarily saying this person is divine, but with the divine masculine, you have the energy of prosperity beginning. And so A divine masculine could have been given a seed of prosperity, or a divine masculine is wanting to attain a seed of prosperity. This is like your first lick, right? Now you get a little bit of money, now you got to grow it into more money, but like this is somebody who wants an initial investment so that they can grow this thing. And so in order to get initial investment, they have to go find somebody that is carrying a wealth of abundance, aka a star seed or a healer. Now, the thing about a divine feminine or a divine masculine, it's about their frequency. It is about their healing frequency. And so we have the energy of maintain your vibration, generate positive emotion, shifting internally. When the sweet talk begins, when they start to spin the lies, they are casting a spell. When you believe the lies, you are now casting the spell on yourself. Now, this is what the setup is. My handmade card, it says, when we pick up the bait or offense, Satan closes the trap. And so they bait you with sweet talk. They bait you with lies. When you pick it up and you start to believe it, now they have the ability to trap you. So the next part of the reading says, okay, so fine, there's a divine masculine. He wants prosperity begins. And so he has to go find somebody who is in a position of authority, who is this healer, this starseed. Now they're also coming out in the energy of somebody who is deceptive or envious. And so in order to be deceptive, that means that you are going to show yourself one way, and in reality, you were going to be somebody totally different. So this is somebody who wears their mask. Maybe they wear a mask as if they are divine. Maybe they wear their mask as if they are a healer. But behind that mask, they actually envy you because you have everything that they need in order to be those things, okay? So they misrepresent themselves to almost be similar to you. That is the mask. They really envy you. They want what you have. So I have somebody entering your life and they're saying hello. And they have to approach you a certain way because you possess a level of authority, okay? Now they may come in as if they have some authority so that they can immediately get your respect and attention, right? Or they just have to approach you in a way that's like a little bit, it's like they have to hold back. They can't really show you the full agenda, okay? So they approach you almost as if they honor your authority. Now, when they approach you, it is going to be specific to phases of the moon. And so phases of the moon are portals. And so this is like somebody wanting to access something. And so they pay attention to the phases of the moon because they have that energy in order to kind of escort them. You know how like if they say you're running on the track, the wind is on your back and it kind of pushes you forward. This is somebody that wants to run in a certain direction, but they have to wait for the momentum of the energy to kind of push them forward. And so the phases of the moon allow them to do this. Now, coming out with the phases of the moon, but from another deck, I have a card that says full moon, and it says fully living the powers of the universe. So something about coming to you during full moons is going to be an opportunity. It's because you're full, you're fat. You know, some people say fat as a tick. It's like because energetically, whatever those universal powers that you carry, like whatever that is, it could be fullest. And so something about approaching you during this time, during full moon phases, is when maybe the operation is easiest to complete. Okay. Now, if they can approach you so here's the thing about an offense. They speak love to you. They want to get your body to start to vibrate love and sensation and pleasure. Like they want to be able to talk you out your panties. Once they are able to successfully do that, not that you have to be intimate with them, right? But if they can get you here, this is what I was thinking of. I don't know if I already said this because I tried to record this before. You know how you have a guest, or you have a friend or somebody that comes over. It's like the first few times they come over, they're a guest. So you may get them food, you may get them a drink, you may kind of like wait on them a little bit. But after a certain time, it's like, yo, you're not a guest, you're family now, go get your own shit. This is somebody who comes into you, you treat them as a guest energetically a few times, but then at some point you relax and then you start telling the stuff you're like, you go get your own shit, like we're family now. This is somebody that wants to transition inside of your own energy from guest to family, okay? And this is all begins with sweet talking, not that it has to be intimate, but this is somebody who wants to appear, or the mask that they wear, it appears that you all are very similar. Now, when specific phases of the moon come, if you pick up the lies, you cast the spell on yourself. Now it's time to offend you. Why is it so important to offend you? Well, Fruits of offense, that was a spiritual burp. Fruits of offense can cause betrayal, backsliding, or loss of destiny. And so they're only coming in because they want your authority, but they want you to give your authority up. And so they have to groom you. They have to condition you first so that you get nice and comfortable, you get nice and open. And then they do something to offend you in order to energetically mess up your healing frequency. The fact that you can maintain that vibration means that their threat level is really reduced. Okay. And so in order for them to become a threat, they have to come in at the same frequency or vibration. And then over time, after you're nice and comfortable, after you have energetically told them they are no longer a guest, they are now family, they will do something off. Okay. They will do something absolutely off. And now you're offended. Now you're carrying an energy, but the energy you're carrying was never based on a truth. It's like now you're feeling who they really are, but you've already casted a certain amount of spells on yourself in order to believe that what they were saying to you about who they were was really true. So we have the energy of avoidance. Okay. So what's wild is this is somebody, what do they call it? Not love bombing. It's like something else. So we literally go from sweet talking to avoidance, sweet talking to avoidance. So this is somebody that comes in very hot and heavy. They get you energetically to drop your guard and then they disappear. And it is when they disappear, it could specifically happen during full moons. And I also have the energy of cope. And so when you are no longer able to hold on to your healing frequency because you've allowed this person into your space, and when they start to do things that are off, when you are in the energy of trying to cope, of trying to make it from the next thought or from the next feeling, like when you are not really stable in self, it is because you have picked up a fruit of offense. As soon as they offend you, they close the trap, because like now you got a reason to be mad. You did all that sweet talking, right? I transitioned you from guest to family. I didn't drop my panties, or you didn't talk me out of my drawers, like whatever it is, even if it's just energetic, not physical, but like whatever it is, like once somebody gets you to that place and then they close the trap or do something wild, like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna be offended. But like, that is the point. That is the method. That is the part of the side hustle game. You are a side hustle. You are a check. Energetically for some people, I mean, maybe they may get an actual check for being successful at this, but at least energetically, what they are able to accomplish when they are opposite you, it gives them some type of wind. Okay. So I almost feel like they come in as if they are very similar to you, like they are a healer. In the center of the reading, it says it's a trick. It's a scheme to deceive you, deception, gaslighting, manipulation. Now, side hustle. The reason why you are a very great side hustle for some, fire and passion runs through your veins. And so it's in you. It is in you. And the power that you possess, it can only become somebody else's is if you relinquish it, if you put it down. And when somebody has made it inside of you, when they have settled themselves inside of your mind, your spirit, your body, or emotion, they have a certain level of control. And so if you're over here trying to cope with the offense, you're more likely to betray self. You betray self because the sweet talking worked, right? But they're really coming after the fact that you're some walking grimoire. Like, this is the plot. Fine. Next part of the reading talks about the star seed. So at some point, remember, you are the healer. So there's no situation or there's no hustle that comes to you that you can't out hustle. Like, you can always get out of the trap. Now, sometimes we can stay in this spirit, or sometimes we can carry the fruit of offense for a while. The longer we carry it, the longer we betray ourselves. The longer we carry the offense, the longer we backslide, right? And if we refuse to put down the offenses that we rightfully should be feeling, then we have essentially lost our destiny, because now we're no longer moving forward in our purpose because we're carrying the offenses that people have done to us. But some of these specific people, you are a job. You are their side hustle. Now, then we have the energy of the star seed getting to a state of balance. So this is where you start to temper your energies. They're messing up something in your physical world. They're messing up something internally. But now you get to yourself to a state of balance. So here's the thing. It's almost giving me energy where like people don't know how to quit. I have works as a member of a team. So this is, let me read this card to you. It says, stubbornness only brings unnecessary wars. So this is like somebody who unsuccessfully sweet talks you, meaning like it may work for a period of time, but then they fail because you pick up on something or you say something or you ask something, but you recognize that something is off with this person. You get yourself back to a state of balance because you are the star seed. But then this is somebody who like doesn't want to take a L. They don't want to lose. So now they go and recruit a member. Now they go and recruit team members to kind of help them. And so I have the energy of somebody literally being stubborn. And so because somebody couldn't take a loss, because they were stubborn, because they didn't like the fact that they couldn't hustle you as long as they wanted to hustle you, now they recruit people to help them. How are they recruiting people to help them? I have secret accounts. And so however you communicate with people, maybe you have a platform, maybe you have some type of expression on social media. This is about them literally creating secret accounts or sending people to like converse with you in some kind of way that are actually working with them, but they failed. So now they're sending additional people in order to help them get this win, right? Now, this comes out with Raven, knowledge, death, energies. And so this is like an entire war was started. It was started because you're coming out as this, as being very intuitive, as literally being walking magic, almost like you're a divine being, but it's like you're walking magic because of how you can heal and recover. But then also you make people feel like the things that they attempt to do are just, you make them feel like their plans are juvenile. Okay, we have the energy of being able to ward off evil. And so not only can you heal yourself from evil, but you can actually ward off evil. You know when somebody, even if it's by a comment or an email, like you can read energy in a very different way that people don't understand, but they don't have the codes or the formulas to understand. So even if people come at you in secret accounts, now it could be this person, or remember it says works as a member of the team. This is about them. Fine. Well, if you don't choose me, if it didn't work with you, I'm gonna try another way. This is somebody who's relentless, somebody who does not want to give up. They cannot take this loss. But you being the Raven, it's like you already know. You will, even when they bring a mystery, even when they attempt to be mysterious, even when they attempt to cloak themselves because of who you are, you will always figure out something is off with this energy. I'm not going to respond, or I'm not going to, like, something. You pick up on it. You can hear the insincerity and the connections. But again, a whole war may have been started, not necessarily because you are involved, but because of what has been happening in the background. It's like somebody just didn't want to sit down. So they recruited people in order to avenge them. And now it is a war amongst them and whoever they recruited, because it is still coming out in the energy of being not a success. So now the reading kind of concludes with a third party snitch. And so one of the people that could have been attached to them by way of a secret account that makes some type of communication or connection with you is really a third party snitch. Either this third party snitch said you were discontent and bored, or this third party snitch is now discontent and bored because they recognize this was a missed opportunity. So the same feeling that the very first sweet talker felt when they took that L, now the other people that they have sent towards you are feeling that. Like they could have just licked their own wounds and let it be done. But now they recruited people, and now everybody is almost at war with them because they're feeling failure. They're feeling the loss too. So the reason why this is a missed opportunity is because of your choice, the power of your choice. It says the transformation process involves choice as key. If you don't choose one of these team members, or if you don't choose to engage with somebody who is a part of these secret accounts, they got nothing. These are powerless people, and they can only win against you when you agree to give them, when you drop your panties, okay? And I mean emotionally, energetically, when you put the gate down. But if you don't choose to engage, if you don't choose to let them in, well, then there's no harm done. So the thing that you chose in order to transform self and in order to transform this situation is, it says you ascended to the highest level of human existence. It's like, oh, you want me to backslide? You want me to lose my destiny? You want me to betray myself? I choose ascension. And so then you just level up. Right now I'm going to become almost untouchable. Okay, because maybe for a period of time, maybe you were too accessible. Okay, And that's learning your power. That's nothing to be mad at, but this is about you learning your power and how to really protect it and maintain it. There could have been a period of time where you were an easy lick because of how people could access you. But then over time, you start changing. You change and you transform because of the choices that you make. The choices that you make are like, yo, how am I going to protect? Like, why does this keep happening again and again? Because there was one loser that didn't want to be a loser, so they recruited a whole bunch of other losers to lose with them. Misery loves company, and they didn't want to be in the company of loss by themselves. So they got a whole bunch of people to just lose right with them, and now they're all at war because they're stubborn. What does it say? Stubborn. I have a video from way back when, and it says stubbornness is the precursor to regret. Now you're in regret, but if you would have just dealt with your stubbornness to take the L, you wouldn't be feeling the way you're feeling. The final part of the reading says getting readings. But you know what makes me weird? So this third party snitch, possibly who was a member of the first loser, a team member of the first loser, is getting readings. Well, the reading is telling them that you have ascended. You're untouchable. Like you're on another level now. You were only able to access that person when they were on levels 1 through 10. Well, now they're on level 30, and so none of y'all can get to them. Like maybe this is the information that they're getting in the readings. Like you can't access them. They're too high. They've ascended. Now, this is what made me think a little. When I have readings out here, it says mask, duality, protection, caution. So I feel like when they get readings, maybe somebody could be lying or not being honest about the energy that they tell the reader. You know what I mean? It says mask and then getting read. Oh, no. So first of all, I could be talking to a reader. Okay. First of all, I could be talking to a reader. Some of the people that come to you for whatever, and if you're not a reader, maybe you offer a service, okay? Maybe you offer a service to people in the public world or people by way of social media. So this says that maybe some of the people that come in as patrons are really members of this team that was working in this side hustle type energy. Let's hunt healers. Let's hunt star seeds. And so some people can wear a mask, come to you to get a reading, and it's only because they are trying to fulfill their duty as a third party snitch. But in the process of them getting a reading, being in your energy, discussing or talking to you, they're recognizing that this is a missed opportunity. Like I was never going to win this. So let me say something like this. When I talk about the side hustle and the fact that the fire and the passion lives in your veins, it's now coming out as an abandoned carnival. So what this card is saying is like, at one point, you were a hot commodity, right? Where people could do this maybe without you knowing again and again and again. Like you were a sure paycheck. Whether physically or energetically, you were a sure paycheck. And so the very thing that everybody did as a side hustle in order to have fun, or in order to experience pleasure, or to have joy, or to get some type of money, it is now an abandoned carnival. So you know how like you see old places or buildings that are dilapidated, but like somebody will be like, oh, I remember when that was right. And so you used to be a place where everybody remembers when they got to experience you in a certain kind of way. But when you look at it now, it's like looking at an abandoned carnival, because they will never be able to revisit that time. They will never be able to revisit you in that energy. And they also can't recreate the moments of joy and pleasure that they used to get doing this as a side hustle to star seeds and healers. Okay. So they would sweet talk you, and then they would avoid you in order to put you in the energy of coping. As long as you're trying to cope with what they've done to you, you are betraying self because you're really only entertaining lies, even though you are a walking book of truth and ancient wisdom. You know what I mean? It's like they get you to entertain a false reality because the one that you are carrying is so powerful. They just want you to put the book down, or they just want you to put down the energy or the codes that allow you to be this book so that they can get inside of you. And I don't think that they can ever take the grimoire from you. But I think that if you're not touching it or handling it or using it, and instead you're using a whole different type of energy that they've seeded inside of you, maybe that is when they win. And so this is somebody that won initially, but then they started to lose. They didn't like it. They went home and cried and told somebody a lie, and in order to, you know, like you get into a fight or you do something probably that you shouldn't have done, but you're so embarrassed and ashamed of what happened. So you go tell a whole bunch of people a whole bunch of lies so that everybody else now feels offended. Now everybody else wants to come to your aid and your rescue. And so now they jump in, and then once they're there, like, man, what the fuck? Why did you send me here? Why didn't you tell me this is like, that's the energy that I'm getting. And so if this is your reading, I feel like the initial person who tried this is now being seen as just a false, phony loser who didn't want to lose, who couldn't make peace with their loss. And their stubbornness has turned into regret, shame, but also remorse in a war because of the people that they recruited to help them. It's one loser who recruited other losers. Y'all, that's this reading. That's this reading. And we're coming up on a full moon. And so when you see this reading, we are still going to be in the energy of the full moon in Scorpio. The full moon in Scorpio is Monday the 12th. I think you will see this reading on Wednesday the 14th. Yeah, you will see this Wednesday, which is still full moon energy. So be mindful of people coming to you for a service. Be mindful of people attempting to sweet talk you in some kind of way, or wear some type of mask as if they are like you, or they heal like you, or whatever it is. You know, something about the phases of the moon. And because I have full moon here, we got to honor that, because we're less than a few hours away from the full moon actually being here. All right, y'all, I love you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.